$170 million closed in tech sales, 14 straight President's Clubs, and over $3.1 million in commissions just in the last 5 years. I'm Eric Fisher, and in this video, I'm pulling back the curtains on exactly how I structure my day as a top 1% B2B account executive in the tech sales industry. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you should schedule your day exactly how I've scheduled mine, but what I can tell you is that how I scheduled my day has been a major reason why I've been able to close multi-million-dollar deals year after year for 14 straight years. It's also why my clients in my private coaching community have added over $150 all the way up to $500,000 more to their W-2 income as a sales rep. It's because they spend their time on the right things. But also, I'm going to share the decision framework I use when things don't go according to plan, because let's face it, they rarely do in sales. So if you're ready to see what the schedule of a top 1% sales rep looks like, let's dive right in. Now, before we talk about my hour-by-hour schedule, everything actually starts the night before. And there's a major reason for this. It's because if you fail to prepare, you are preparing yourself to fail. Sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. So every single night, I make a list before I go to bed of the things I have to get done first thing in the morning. So this could be things like prospecting, so sending 25 emails before 8 a.m. This could mean doing account research. This could mean following up with prospects for deals that I'm working, because deal management's really important. It's closer to the money. It's closer to closing. And so all of the things that are most important that I consider income producing activities, those are the first things I do. I don't do training. I don't do admin tasks. I don't follow up on unnecessary items that are not going to move the needle for me. And so making that list the night before is critically important to my success the very next day, because when I wake up in the morning, usually between 4 and 5 a.m., I know exactly what I need to do after I get done working out in the morning. And that's the first thing I do. I don't have to think about it. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to just execute upon it. After that, the rest of the day is easy, right? Yes, I might have discovery calls. Yes, I might have, negotiations. But again, if they were major things that I knew were important, I would write those things down on my list and I would prepare for them. So if you take just one tip from this video, write down your to-do list the night before and make sure it's the things that are most critically important to your success. So if you don't have a lot of pipeline, then guess what? You need to build pipeline and prospect, doing emails, cold calls, reaching out on LinkedIn, other forms of outreach, going on in-person meetings with customers. Maybe you've got a lot of deals in your pipeline and you need to focus on improving your discovery. Well, you probably should focus on self-education and spend half an hour to an hour first thing in the morning before your day actually gets starts to learn. Educate yourself. All right, enough of that. Let's jump into my schedule and show you how I optimize it to be a top performer every single day. Now let's get into the next day and how you should structure your day to be a top 1% account executive in tech sales. Now let's take a step back, because everything I did the day before in terms of writing down my top 5 goals for the next day and reviewing my meetings, there's still a few other things we need to do. So the first thing I do is I prepare for any meetings that are the next day. I don't like preparing the day of. It's just too close to the meeting time. I'm going to be rushed, and I'd rather get things done the day before so I'm confident, I can have authority in the meeting, I'm well prepared, and I'm not going to be stumbling when I'm asking questions. I'm going to be knowledgeable about their business. I've connected dots. So I always prepare the night before. But there's something else I do that most reps don't do. And it's actually 2 things. I also respond to all the emails that came through between 5, 6 o'clock till 9, 10, 11 o'clock, because I get a lot of emails after business hours from prospects and clients. And I know after doing this for 19 years, actually 20 this year, that I can win oftentimes purely on urgency and speed. You see, customers and prospects, they like people that are responsive. And the more responsive you are, the more that you can show them that you're dialed in and attentive to their emails, their calls, you will put yourself way ahead of your competition. So always be responsive. I would strongly urge you not to wait till the next morning to respond. Respond that evening. It also gets it off your plate so you're not waking up in the morning and having all these emails to respond to. It's just a terrible way to start your day. So after I've responded to any emails that came through after business hours, the next thing I do is I do research on my top 10 prospects that I want to get a hold of the next morning. So I'll check their LinkedIn, I'll review their website, I'll use maybe Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, whatever AI tool your company allows you to use. I might do a 10K analyzer to make sure I understand what's going on in their business. I will do tons of research, but I use what's called a swipe file, which I actually talked about on the Sell Better Daily Show, which allows me to research more efficiently and build on that research that I've done before. And it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And then I also have templates built in there for emails that work for the type of personas I'm trying to get in touch with to book a meeting. Then I write 10 emails to the people I want to get a hold of the very next day. And the reason I do this is because I want those emails to fire between 7 and 7:30 in the morning the very next day. Now, am I up before 7 a.m.? Absolutely. But I'm not necessarily in the right frame of mind in my life at 7 a.m. to be writing emails. Number one, I might be commuting to work. Number two, I have 2 kids that are getting off to the school bus around 8:30. So that's why I write my emails at night. I write those 10 emails. They're highly personalized. They're short, sweet, and to the point. And then I set them on delayed delivery so they get sent to the customer between 7 and 7:30, depending on the customer, and those are already out of the way. So then let's talk about what happens the next morning. So the next morning, starting at 6:30 a.m., I look at my meetings for the day again. Now, sometimes if I'm honest, I'm doing it while I'm working out. I'll be on my phone and I'm looking to see what are my most important meetings. Again, I wrote these all down. Sometimes I put them on my notes in my phone and I'll just review. Okay, I've got a meeting with Bobby, Susie, and Joey. It's probably not their names, but you get the point. And those are my top 3 meetings for the day. And the things that I needed to prepare for, I did the night before. Was there any follow-ups that need to happen internally? Did I need to get a hold of my solution executive or solution engineer? Do I need to pull in somebody from my front office for a contract conversation? Do I need to contact my boss because I need them to influence somebody else in the organization? I'm already getting the wheels turning and starting to think about those things. And I might send some texts out around 6:30. Hey, Matt, I need this done. Can you help me out with this? Or hey, can we hop on a quick call at 7:45? I sent you a calendar invite already. I get all that stuff out of the way. Again, these are little simple hacks I'm giving you that I'm telling you 99% of salespeople don't do. And it's just ridiculous because it will help them so much in how they manage their day. So now that that's all out of the way, let's say we're starting at 8 a.m. Well, 8 a.m. every morning, I have a call I have to be on from 8 to 8:30. It's an internal call. I can't miss it. So that time's kind of gone. But if I tell my leader, hey, from 8 to 8:30, I've got a meeting, no questions asked if I'm going on a customer meeting. There's no complaints. There's no questions. Revenue in the door, meeting with customers, interacting with a customer or prospect is the most important thing. So I always try to schedule meetings first thing in the morning if I can, because a meeting with a customer first thing in the morning is far more important than an internal meeting. The second thing I'll do to get out of those meetings, which I'm not trying to avoid them, I just know my time is better served either trying to get in front of a customer, meeting with a customer, or spending time on deal management with somebody internal in the company to help me advance a deal. Because when we're selling technical products, technical services, it's usually not just you going alone, right? You got a solution engineer, a solution architect, somebody who's technical that's involved in the deal, maybe a contracts person from your team, marketing, whatever it is. You need to get those people engaged right out of the gates before their calendars are completely booked up. So I'm always looking to get out of internal meetings because I know that in order to hit my goals that I have for myself, exceed the goals my company sets for me, it's best served doing those things. So, but let's say I have to attend that 8 to 8:30 meeting. Right after that meeting at 8:30, I hop right into more prospecting, assuming I don't have a customer call. So from 8:30 to 9:30, I spend more time sending emails and making phone calls. I usually split it up between 30 minutes of phone calls, and then I follow up those phone calls with emails on everybody that I called. And I'll usually say in my voicemail when I leave, if they don't answer, I'll say, hey, I'm going to send you an email on this. Feel free just to respond back to that email. So I do the phone calls for 30 minutes. I send the emails for 30 minutes. Now we're at 9:30. From 9:30 to about 11:30, that's when I'm spending time on deal management. So what is deal management? Deal management can mean a lot of different things, but typically it's I look at my CRM system and I look at every single deal that I've got in my pipeline, and I will look, okay, it's in the qualification stage. What are the things that I need to do on this deal to get it advanced forward? Do I need to multi-thread the deal, which might mean I need to reach out to, person A, B, C, and D within an organization to understand their perspective? Do I need to contact somebody in my front office? Do I need someone from our technical team to help me solution something? Whatever it is, those are the things I'm looking for. Typically, I'll use MedPick to determine the information, and I usually do this on every single deal, right? So I look at what's the information I have and what's the information I don't have. It really helps me identify my gaps. And when I look at MedPick, it makes it really clear and simple for me on what questions I need to ask, what information I don't have, and then I know or write down a plan to execute to go get that information. That can take me 2 hours. Now we're at about lunchtime, 11:30 to 12:30. Now, in reality, I have customer lunches pretty often. And the reason for that is that I sell to really large organizations. Some of them are across the world, and I'm dealing with people in other parts of the world. I don't meet them for lunch, obviously, but I do have a really large customer that's about an hour from my office. So as much as possible, I'm going to go meet my customers or new prospects that I'm trying to earn their business in person, which means I got to drive an hour to meet them for lunch between 11:30 and 12:30. So what that means is the hour before when I was doing deal management, I might have to make some calls on the way to that lunch. And as you can see, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. I'm not riding in the car, listening to sports talk radio, listening to music. I'm not listening to podcasts. I'm always working. If I've got to be in the car, I'm going to be productive and do something during that time. If I have a customer lunch, we have the lunch meeting. I document everything that I learned coming out of that meeting. Then I'm usually going to drive home or drive back to the office, depending on the day. Then what am I doing in the afternoon? It's about 12:30, 1:30, somewhere in there. I'm gonna go back to more prospecting, or I'm gonna have a ton of discovery calls or meetings with customers on deals I'm working. Usually in the afternoon between 1 and 4, I reserve that time for customer meetings, because the morning time they're usually super busy with tons of internal meetings, and the afternoons they have less of those meetings. And so as much as possible, I try to block time off where it's like 1:30 to 4:30. That's when I meet with customers. Now, the question that you might be asking is like, well, what if a customer responds back and they say, I can only meet at 10:30 in the morning, and 10:30 in the morning is the time that you're doing deal management? Well, I'm going to give you the honest truth, because a lot of people say you protect your time and you only meet during these blocks. That's bullshit. If a customer says that they're only available at 10:30 and you have that time blocked for deal management, take the frickin' meeting and move your deal management to the afternoon. There's nothing more important than getting time face-to-face or over video conference with a customer. You can always move deal management to the afternoon. So don't be stupid, and because somebody told you that they time block everything and that nothing can interfere with that time, to not take the meeting. Take the meeting every single time. This whole idea of like being unavailable and all that crap, nobody does that. That's a top 1% producer. If they got another customer meeting, sure, hey, I'm not available at that time, I can meet in the afternoon. And this is coming from someone that not only leads a huge account team, sells a ton of revenue themselves, has a leadership position, has a lot on their plate. I have meetings all the time, all day long with customers some days, and then I have days where I don't have as much going on, because that's just the life of sales. You have some days where you're just going to be working on prospecting and deal management, and then you're going to have other days that are just stacked full of customer meetings. But the reality is always focus your time on income producing activities, and those that fall into 3 categories: prospecting, filling your funnel; deal management, working deals that are in your pipeline, right? We talked about med pick and figuring out what your gaps are, figuring out what action you need to take. And then the third thing is meeting with customers. Those are really the 3 things you need to do. There's one fourth thing though, and that fourth thing is constantly researching and investing time learning about your customer's business. Far too many sales reps just wing it and are not well educated and lack business acumen, so they don't show up well in front of the customer. Well, what's the point of getting a meeting just to show up with a lack of business acumen? That's the number one thing most average sales reps don't have. They don't know how their customer makes money. They don't know the top priorities of companies in that industry. They don't know where the leader that they're meeting with came from or what their job history was. They don't know how long the person's been at the company. They didn't multi-thread the deal, so they have no knowledge on what the priorities are for the organization or what the people below are struggling with. You need to do this research. And so in the afternoon, I talked about that time spent for customers, but what if I have no meetings that day? Let's just say I have one meeting and it's from 1 to 2 o'clock. Well, from 2 to 4, I'm going to be researching the customers in my territory or in my portfolio to figure out what it is I don't know. So let's say I've got 5 customers that are my targets for that quarter, and they're really big customers. Well, I'm going to spend time learning about what are the top trends, what's on the internet, what's on LinkedIn, are there any new hire job postings that they're posting. I'm going to do all of those things so that when I prospect, I've got more information in the think tank. I'm going to document that information. I'm going to continue studying. And again, I might do that for an hour, but I document. I never let research time go wasted. So let's say now we're at 4:30. This is where most people get lazy. They start, searching the internet, they're scrolling social media. Don't do that. Make more calls to your customers, or what I will do is I will make internal calls to follow up on all the things that happened during the day that I need done to get my deals moving forward. I am never sitting idle. I never ride in the car and I'm not on the phone. You should always be doing something that's advancing your business forward. And by now you might be thinking, well, Eric, this doesn't sound that structured. Well, the reality is I have these time blocks, but my day gets screwed up all the time. And so you have to be willing to move those blocks of time around. Like I said, if you've got a day where you got tons of customer meetings, great. That's the whole point. Meet with customers, advance those deals, or disqualify those customers out if they're not the right fit or it's not the right time, and then move them into a nurture sequence and build that relationship over time. So when they're ready, you got the relationship there. But then the days where you don't have as much going on, prospecting, deal management, customer research, that's your day. Okay. Now at the end of the day, there's 3 things I always do. Number 1, I write down everything that didn't get done that day, because the reality is every single day things don't get done. And so those things either need to get done that night or the next day. And I prioritize them by on what's closest to the money. Meaning, if there is something I told the customer that I get back to them that day, I'm going to make sure I get it back to them that day, because if you have a lack of integrity, you will lose opportunities with customers. Now, if I told the customer I was going to get them something the next day and I was just going to try to beat that time, well, that can get pushed to the next day. And I also just like to clean things up. I don't like carrying things into the next day. So you might be wondering, well, like, what does a top 1% rep do do versus an average rep? Well, top 1% reps are always getting things done ahead of time, but only the important things. Admin activities like updating your CRM, trainings, all those type of things, I push those off as long as possible, frankly, because admin activities don't make you money. If you're gonna get in trouble with your company because you gotta do a compliance training, get it done, but wait till the very end. Focus on making money, focus on closing deals. That's more important than anything else. The reality is that a lot of account executives fill their time with a lot of nonsense. They're just admin things that are not important. So don't focus on those things, or do them later at night when you are having a cold beer or whatever it is that you do at night. You can knock out admin activities while you're watching a movie or your favorite TV show. Don't do them during core business hours. Do them late at night or really early in the morning. The second thing I do is I write more emails, and I send those emails off, usually between 5 to 7 emails. I send more emails off and have them delivered between 5 to 7 o'clock. Why? Same reason as why I get them sent off early in the morning for the emails that I wrote the night before. And the reason I do that is because the opportunity to contact a top buyer that I'm trying to target is far greater between 5 or 4:30 and 7 because they have no meetings. You got to think about your strategy when it comes to booking meetings with customers. And yes, I talked a lot about that because most of you watching this video don't have enough in your pipeline, so you need to book more qualified meetings with tough, hard to reach buyers. So send emails or make calls at the times they're available. Now, you really never know, but what I do know is after doing this for 19 years, you're going to have a much better chance early in the morning and later in the afternoon or in the evening when all their meetings have concluded. And you might be thinking, well, I don't want to bother them. Trust me, the people that you want to be in front of, they're on their phone all the time because they are responsible for large portfolios, millions or even billions of dollars in business. And even if you're an SMB seller or you're a mid-market seller, the people that are in the jobs that you want to contact that have economic buyer authority, they're still working between 5 and 7 o'clock. So I'll get those emails out. I make sure those are done. And the last thing I do, I actually do either on my way home or while I'm getting dinner ready for my family or driving a kid to an activity, as I'll do any follow-up calls that I have internally or with customers who said call me at the end of the day. And the reason I do that is because, again, same reason, people are more available. They're not in meetings all day. And so I have to get those things done. And the people that don't and just stop working at 5, I'll just be frank with you, they're bottom producers, they're average sales reps because they're not willing to do the extra things. There are people that I know that are like, well, 5 o'clock's my gym time and I can't do any work after 5 o'clock. And it's like, that's fine for them. They may not want to be a top sales performer. I do. And hopefully if you're watching this video, you do too. Anybody that tells you that this job and to be great at sales is a 8 to 5 job, they're bullshitting you. Those people that are saying that oftentimes are sales influencers that are running their business. And I can promise you, most of them don't work 8 to 5. Yes, you can build skills so that you don't have to work as many hours. But the reality is every top performer I know works a lot of hours because there's a lot. The more you fill up your pipeline with more opportunities, the more there is to do. It's just the facts. So you're going to have to work more hours if you want to make $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $800,000 a year. It's not an 8 to 5 job. And so that's why my day's structured this way. That's why I do these little simple hacks, if you will, is these are the things that have helped me get ahead and to help me hit, 14 and soon, this year, 15 straight President's Clubs. And the little things I do before my day starts, after my day is concluded, business hours, those are the things that help me get ahead. And then again, when I structure my day the way I structure it, I had the flexibility to move things around. I hope this video was helpful. I know there's other videos out there that are giving you the perfect schedule and they're showing screens on the perfect schedule. The reality is sales doesn't work that way. Customers are going to book meetings with you and you're going to have to move things around, like I said, and you just have to have that structure and framework, and then you move the chess pieces around. Just don't ever let off the gas when it comes to prospecting. Never don't take a meeting from a customer. Always stay urgent and make sure you focus on those 3 things. Adding to your pipeline, aka prospecting, deal management, working deals that are in your sales cycle. And the third thing is meeting with customers. Those are the most important things you can do in your sales career. If you build your day around those things and then do these extra things before and after business hours, you'll be wildly successful. Hey, thank you for watching today's video. I hope this video helped you. If it did, smash that thumbs up button. It helps out my channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. And by the way, if you're looking to elevate your sales game, I do offer one-on-one coaching. I'll provide a link down below in the description box, as well as tons of free resources that you can access so you can get better at improving your sales skills and make more money and reach financial freedom. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video.